Good day, everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play Star Trek Online. My name is Umbago, and with me once again is...
Where am I? What is this that we're doing?
Yeah, it's
It's like a weird summer vacation has come to an end.
yeah, it's been a long time. Because I've been not necessarily on vacation, but away from home.
Been working
Yeah, pretty much.
in the blistering Canadian heat.
It actually was like brutally hot out there. We had a lot of people who were getting various levels of heat injuries. It
That's
was
not good.
it was pretty rough, but that's neither here nor there. What we're here for today is to show off the stuff that's new in Agents of Yesterday.
Thankfully, there's a lot of that.
There is actually enough to keep us for a decent while. Where we're going to start off, where we've kind of been regularly starting off with these types of things, is the new faction, which is 23rd Century Starfleet, because they needed more Federation in this game.
Because they got style.
I mean, they do. It's actually pretty rad.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into this later, but one of my greatest disappointments is the 23rd century stuff does not last nearly long enough.
I haven't played a whole lot of the 23rd Century stuff yet, just because of what's been going on. I've dipped my toes into a little bit, and it seems kind of well made and interesting with what the tone they're going for, and also like the ship designs. It's actually a pretty neat touch. But yeah, from what you've told me, it sounds like it should have gone on a little longer. But there's a pretty early reference that gets made that it kind of makes sense why it doesn't go on much longer. But then again, that's also something that they could have adjusted. It's just kind of strange because it feels like basically the point where the 23rd Century Starfleet stuff ends, all these characters just become Starfleet.
They do. They literally do, and it's essentially, like the point in the Romulan story where you have to choose a faction.
Mm-hmm.
That's when the 23rd century stuff ends. So around level 10.
Yeah, okay.
And that's very disappointing.
That is kind of disappointing, yeah. Especially with the like the ship bundle from pre-ordering the expansion stuff. Well, I say pre-ordering, but people who've been following the game for a while know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, you get a lot of 23rd Century Starfleet ships, so I was kind of hoping that like it would be a decent progression, like all the way. But oh well. We will continue this conversation, but I just want to start by showing off. So again, we're here in the character creator, because of like how limited, let's just say, the original series was. You only get 4 races for 23rd Century Starfleet. Your typical humans, the Andorians, the Tellarites, and Vulcans, and each one of these also has slightly different looks to sort of have them match a little closer to the way they looked in the original series. Like, you can kind of tell that the 23rd Century Tellarites are much more pig-like.
They're the biggest difference. Thankfully, they didn't go full on like pom-pom antenna for Andorians, because that would look goofy.
Yeah, the 23rd Century Andorians are different. Like they are clearly different. I'm just showing the regular ones now, and yeah, if I got the Tellarites here. Yeah, here they are. Yeah, so like you can tell that they are different to make them look more like they did in the original series. I actually kind of like the default build for the Andorians, but it works better if you're playing tactical, and which brings up another nice touch. People may notice that the tactical is wearing the yellow jumpsuit, while engineering is wearing red. Just like the original series, the colors are reversed.
And thus the red shirt origin is born.
Yeah. Although that is still interesting because, like, it actually makes more sense. Like, it's funny because it makes more sense for the red shirt thing in like the Next Generation era. Like if you take this as like at its word, but it's you don't normally see the red shirts dying in Next Generation and onwards because it's the wrong color.
Gold shirts.
Yeah, it's usually the gold shirts that die. So it's,
but it originates in the original series.
Yeah, it originates in the original series because it's the red shirts, but it makes more sense for red shirts to be tacticals because to be the ones dying. So it's weird, but that's okay. Yeah, I'm probably just going to go tactical. It's just,
I went engineering because I wanted to be a red shirt.
Yeah, yeah, just because we're going to be playing for not very many levels before we carry on, and if you are. You do have actually a decent number of options for uniforms. Let's see what we got here. Oh, jacket tight only gives you basically the t-shirt, which is actually kind of a nice one. For badges, it's actually quite fascinating because each ship has its own design and then a different insignia for like which trade inside of it. Or like basically, well, not necessarily each ship, but each like chassis.
I think in the original series it was each ship, because they only had so many.
Yeah, it was probably very much like your typical like modern regimental affiliations, but you can also. What was I?
Or I mean, to use a NASA example, like each of the old space shuttles had its own patch.
Mm-hmm. Just here. Oh yeah. So and also, if you're 23rd century Andorian, you can wear the ponchos. TOS Vulcan Ambassador. That must have been because I pre-ordered.
Yay!
And then jacket loose. You get dress uniforms, tunics, uniforms ripped because that's a pre-order.
You can be Kirk.
The Andorian chainmail because why not? The Tellarite. Tracksuit, I guess. Yeah, that's. You know what? Actually, that looks kind of neat.
Make Dr. Tracksuit.
Okay, uniform, pants tucked. Come on, alright, whatever. Pants tucked low, loose, tight. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a variety of options, and it's just not nearly as large as what is available.
And apparently, like after a certain point, you do unlock a few more options, but a lot of those extra options that you unlock are for the races that you can't create characters for in at this mode. Like for example, there actually is a point where you will unlock the ability to use 23rd century Klingon and Gorn styles, which is pretty fascinating. I think it's actually kind of cool that they do that. Can I use this? Oh, whatever. I actually don't care about names here. Okay, I can use that one.
It's just, as long as it's not a curse word, I'm pretty sure they let you use it.
Okay, no, I want to replay the tutorial because I've played through the tutorial once just to see it, but now, like obviously, I need to show it off for this.
We'll see if. Oh, okay, no, that is you. Never mind.
Investigate the disappearance of a science vessel.
I don't know if at what point we'll join up, but at this point we're not.
Yeah, I'll shoot an invite to you as soon as I get control, and we'll see.
Oh, okay. My bad. I forgot about the cutscene.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, just let me know when you're on the bridge.
Is that you, Ozrag?
Yes.
All right.
I made a Tellarite, so I decided to go with a dwarfish name.
All right. So you. Okay. Yeah. So I actually really like how this tutorial is structured.
Lieutenant, we've
Um,
the wreckage of a
it's-
crashed ship down there. I need to get
how to
boots
put
on the
this?
ground, find out what's going on. Take a landing pod
So
down to the surface.
the
Assess the
tutorials
situation and
for
look
the
around.
other three factions, or at least the way they are like right now, are
Not so fast.
very
Can't
much
use the
based
transporters due to
on
atmospheric
like
interference.
something really bad
You need to
happens
take
and
a
you need to
shuttle
take
back.
over.
Use the sensors to locate
And
safe
the way they handle this is pretty great.
Yeah.
Like, we'll see pretty soon, but right now we're just basically going through the same basic stuff. Like, here's how you interact with stuff.
Here's how to move.
Here's how to move. Now, you probably will know more than this, but one thing that I've kind of noticed so far, though, is... So this mission and the next mission, which are, like, the only ones I've actually seen so far, are basically, like, Captain Kirk's greatest hits.
Yes, much of the 23rd century stuff is Captain Kirk's greatest hits. Which is totally fine, because honestly, I mean, how many missions of the Delta expansion were hey, let's go revisit stuff Voyager did.
Yeah, that's true. It's just like it feels a little bit more like obvious in this stuff, because it's like they very much say like, oh yeah, like based on Captain Kirk's logs, blah blah blah.
Because Kirk's a badass.
I mean, it's true.
Plus, the other kind of weird fact you just kind of have to accept about the original series is a lot of episodes were just they find a weird planet with some weird godlike alien, or some other kind of weird alien, and stuff happens that's just kind of not memorable. So you're getting a lot of the more memorable stuff.
Ensign Mears, reporting as ordered. I'm ready when you are. I was one of the so-called Galileo 7. A science team...
Yes, and here's an actual person from the episode of the original series who was there.
Galileo 7?
Yeah.
I don't believe it's the same actress.
It's pretty unlikely to be the same actress, but...
Given them willing that it's the same actress is either, like, extraordinarily old or dead at this point.
Yeah. Also, like, there are definitely some touches that they do to stuff that are fascinating. Like, if you go over here and look at the shuttlecraft, just look at how low quality it is, and just the way they have the Copernicus written on it, like it was with crayon.
That's what the actual shuttles look like.
I know, it's so good.
And the other thing is, I'm hoping this shows up and you're on the video well enough, but the film grain.
Yes.
The film grain's amazing.
Yeah, it's very subtle, which is actually a nice touch, because a lot of games that do this sort of thing lean super heavily onto the film grain. At first, I noticed it, but I thought it was like some weird, like, I just thought it was like some glitch at first, but then I realized, like, yeah, this is actually like real. Like, this is what's actually happening. So I'm down on the surface if you're waiting.
Oh yes, I should be there in a moment. Hopefully we join up at this point.
Yeah, I'll just wait here for a moment until it says that you've carried on.
It says Bridge 22.
Yeah, so what was I going to say? Oh, another thing which is kind of funny, and I didn't realize this at first, and I kind of did the same thing again, is your first bridge officer is a Andorian tactical officer.
Oops.
Yeah, so the other character that I made was also an Andorian tactical officer. In fact, was also a female Andorian tactical officer. So
guess what I did?
Did the same thing?
Guess what I made? An Andorian female tactical officer. Oh, actually, another thing to note. Note the other officer with you at the moment.
Yes, I was actually going to comment on that when you showed up here. There is a crewman Flores that is with us. We wonder if there's any relation to a certain Flores that we pick up much later on.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm on the planet too. So if I'm not seeing you. So
okay, because I see you still being flagged as bridge number 4.
Same.
So the odds are, like, I think it's actually that we will not show up until we get to the combined version of Earth Space Dock, because you may remember that there is a point during the tutorial where you are in an empty Earth Space Dock, then you talk to a guy, and suddenly Earth Space Dock explodes with people.
Yes.
So
Also, the cops are coming to get me, so I don't know how long I'll be able to stay on this.
it's like, stop doing whatever.
I know, I gotta stop leaving the bodies around.
There are 2 paths.
All right. Yep. So we got crewman Flores here following us.
In a red shirt.
Yeah, in a red shirt. So,
Tap the shift key while moving.
Is that a warp nacelle? Wow.
Use the big key to find anomalies.
yeah, I find it amusing that Tarsi is like, "Wow, that's warp nacelles are huge." I'm like, "Have you like never been outside of your spaceship?"
No, because why would you go outside the spaceship? It's space out there.
I mean, you go to space dock, you can see the ships from inside
Maybe
there.
she just never looked, okay?
I guess. I mean, it is big.
I'm
but
just-
don't get me wrong.
I'm just saying, if in real life I saw the engine of like a battleship or something, I'd be surprised too.
So here, treating the injured survivor is a hilarious event because you're just like standing here in this plasma stream trying to revive him, and you keep getting interrupted. And finally, Tarsi's like, I should
do
probably
that.
I should probably tell you to stop doing that. Maybe you should turn off the plasma instead of just standing there. Also, it's hilarious that you are even like standing in the plasma. Actually, that's one thing which is kind of interesting about the 23rd century stuff, which I think is more of a limitation, so to speak, with that Cryptic is trying to work around, is that you actually do have personal shields. Which I'm pretty sure don't exist until Voyager era, but and then poor Flores got a spear thrown.
So if it is related to the other Flores, he's either an uncle or he's already got kids. 'Cause-
Yeah.
But no, the animated series had personal shields.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it's. I mean, that, again, that's a dubious canon thing. And to be honest, it's probably a like a budgetary constraint because they could just kind of like show shimmering occasionally instead of having to actually animate something new.
Okay.
Because Filmation is notoriously cheap.
Although, on one hand, if it's even if it's shown in the animated series, Cryptic doesn't necessarily have access to the animated series per se. But I imagine they probably either just accepted it.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's not
Or-
unprecedented. For
yeah.
the,
Telling me we should get those supplies.
Yeah, it's whatever. It's not that big of a deal. It's just I'm sure that like the biggest thing, like the biggest reason is probably just like pure mechanics of the engine itself. Like
Yeah.
the way combat works on ground would be pretty unbalanced if not just like unbalanced against you if it didn't have those shields.
We thought those supplies you brought will come in handy while we wait. Just put them over there.
There are some rifles in that crate. We should
I also
go
just
check
love
our
the
items.
animations of the Torians.
I'll set up some guards while you get ready.
They're just so lumbering and like dude in a suit looking.
Wait, you want me to shoot this?
By pressing Z.
Alright, so now we're gonna give these doctors some phaser rifles and hope they don't shoot their feet off.
Start shooting.
They'll be fine.
Alternate fire mode.
You're in the army. You give your untrained medics assault rifles all the time, right?
Fire by pressing T or click
That
the
feels
icon.
a lot better.
Demonstrate alt fire.
They're right behind me.
Oh, well, here comes the giants.
Heads up. The Torians are attacking.
Yeah, I actually do think that, like, again, I haven't played a whole lot of the missions. I'm still playing. I've played the tutorial, and that's like kind of about it. But it's just what I remember of the tutorial, or what I remember of the original series. The tutorial is kind of a lot closer.
Yeah, they pretty much nailed the feeling of the original series with this.
Yeah, as opposed to like the way everything else is, which is not to say like I still really like the rest of the game, but you know, when people say yeah it doesn't feel like Trek, well, yes, they're kind of right.
Well,
but
it's
honestly
it's
like
a
how
matter of,
how like modern quote unquote Trek is, and even
Yeah,
then
it's the
it's
thing.
probably just like it's next generation because
I might have an idea.
the S9 Voyager and the movies are different.
yeah, the thing is just the original series was much more action oriented than
Shut the doors.
than
They're right behind us.
you know, TNG was, just more about exploring and, you know, less science to solve every problem.
Yeah.
More Kirk speechifying to
Last time I
solve
was
every
here,
problem.
Scotty, Commander Scott. Oh,
So now we're going to electrify the hull of this pod and hopefully scare away the Historians. Also, the effect of electrifying the hull is hilarious and great.
It's a little bit of glowing.
Yeah, and just like full palette.
I don't know if you've
recolor.
seen it yet, but when you disintegrate a dude with a 23rd century weapon, it's pretty amazing.
I can't remember if I've seen it. At least not in this version.
Lieutenant, it
It's
worked.
just like a blue outline that slowly fades
The
away.
Torians ambushed us. I managed to escape, but the other.
Yeah.
I was thinking you can use out.
Yeah, I think I'll see it in just a little bit, but yeah, it's just the touches that they've done for like making it feel more like a show that was made in the 60s.
Yeah, that's the
is-
thing. That's why I'm so disappointed it doesn't last that long.
Yeah,
Like, I was hoping it would last as long as the Romulan campaign did, basically.
yeah, that would have been really nice. Again, like especially when you consider how many 23rd century ships they have made, because they have a full tier 1 to 5 progression.
They do, and I believe any Federation character has access to it, regardless of whether or not they're 23rd century.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And they all have higher tier versions.
Yeah, the tier 6 ones though are like very specifically flagged as like temporal remakes, which is kind of interesting.
I think, actually, let me check real quick since I'm a bit ahead of you. I believe the tier 6 versions are all 26th century versions where you can just change the skin if you want.
Yes, you can change the skin to make them look like the original ones, as long as you have both. But yeah, it's just with what they had, it's just kind of a shame that they didn't. Oh, there. Oh, come on.
No, they're all at the bottom. Okay.
Lieutenant,
There we go.
help!
It just took a while to recognize that I defeated the chieftain.
Pretty sure those things were gonna happen.
Fascinating. The Torians appear to be in a late Stone Age state of
Yeah, all the tier 6 versions are the
Now isn't the best time for an anthropology lecture,
are the 26th century versions.
Like that's
23rd century ships.
that's pretty
basically.
great because like you are in the 24th century flying 26th century versions of 23rd century ships.
Am I seeing things?
And then you can also get ships from the 31st century.
Sure look like
Yep.
Klingons.
Oh, and then suddenly Klingons, because why not?
Enemies sometimes
Of
drop
course.
items. An item has
Gotta
value
have
for you.
Klingons.
Move toward the item and press F to loot it.
Oh, we also didn't talk about the lockbox yet, did
Is
we?
that a
Oh,
Klingon pad?
did we not?
I have some experience
I don't think we
with
did, because I don't
Klingons.
think it was...
I guess we didn't, because that would have been released alongside
Agents of
Agents of Yesterday, and Agents of Yesterday would I really have not talked about it at all before we? Oh, whatever.
I don't think it got announced until like right before Ages Yesterday came out.
Yeah, I guess. So yeah, let's take the opportunity to talk about this.
The lockbox made me spend money.
The lockbox, yeah, I've spent quite a bit on it so far because it is the Kelvin universe, as they are deciding to call it. In other words, the J.J. Abrams movies. There you go. I just got a disintegration. So the lockbox.
Doesn't it look cool?
Yeah, that actually looks really rad. So the lockbox prize is the J.J. Abrams version of the Constitution class, which is, like, on one hand, that's kind of genius. On the other hand, that's, like, it's kind of terrible that they did that, because people have been clamoring for a Tier 6 Constitution class for about, well, a max level Constitution class, basically since the game was released. And now here is a max level Constitution class. That is a lockbox prize, and not even the normal Constitution class.
Have fun, jerks.
Yeah, now all that said, I like the look of the J.J. Abrams Constitution class. I haven't gotten one yet, but I am still on the hunt. Which leads me to the second ship. So there's a few.
Kinda.
There is a few very interesting things that they did with this lockbox. The first is, so the lockbox, the prize, the grand prize, there are actually three, one for each faction. There is the J.J. Abrams, or the Kelvin Universe Constitution class. There's a Kelvin Universe Bird of Prey. And
that was seen in Into Darkness, basically.
Yeah, and there was a Kelvin Universe Warbird.
That one, I think, is just kind of like, I think, vaguely inspired by the Narada from...
it is supposed to be the Narada, or at least...
It doesn't look like the Narada.
It does not look like the Narada, yeah.
The Narada looks like... was the Lockbox ship or the Lobi ship from, like, the post-Romulus launch thing?
Yeah, it kind of looks a lot more like that.
That looks more like the Narada to me.
Yeah. It's... I'm positive that they're trying to say that it is the Narada, because that ship's console is the mining laser, which actually has a really fascinating effect, which is not only is it like basically a long-term damage over time effect, its cooldown is based on how long you actually have the beam running. So if you sort of like turn it on and turn it off very quickly, it has a very short cooldown. Was the what did it? Oh, the Constitution class had some kind of like redundant auxiliary systems or whatever, which is basically just like an energy boost when you use it. And I can't remember.
I'm just going to pretend that actually installs a series of like liquid tubes in your warp core.
And I can't remember what the Klingon one was. The fourth ship that...
the Lobi ship.
Yeah, the fourth ship, which is the Lobi ship, is the Vengeance class from Into Darkness. Which, like, man, this is pretty awesome, because, like, all these ships are ones that I really want.
I got a Vengeance today.
Yeah, I bought the Vengeance on the Lobi store, and I'm on my way to saving up enough energy credits to buy myself the Constitution on the market, but like it's kind of expensive at the moment.
Because people want it.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm willing to bet Cryptic has probably made more money off this one lockbox than like the last three combined.
Possibly, which is interesting, because like not only having a max level Constitution class, but having like anything J.J. Abrams is very divisive. So like that's very interesting.
And there's like the weapons, the Gatling phasers.
Yes. Yeah. I was going to get to that. So, because. So all right. So like Cryptic kind of normally does, the ships that are part of the lockbox have a set, like have an item set with the consoles, and because a minimum of 2 of the ships that you can get, and a maximum of 3 are 4 factions that you aren't, so you literally cannot get nor fly those ships. In addition to the ships, the lockboxes also have an item in them, which is essentially just a box to give you the console or the ship trait for the ships that you cannot fly, which is nice.
That is much easier to find than the actual ship.
Yeah, yeah, I've gotten a whole bunch of them. So then the next item, so like Cryptic always does in these lockboxes, it comes with a unique weapon type, and in this instance, the unique weapon type is the Gatling phasers. Also, it has like the Kelvin style torpedoes, which I think does have a new visual effect, and their generic effect is just that they fire faster. But the phasers have the Gatling fire look to them, just like they do in the movie, with their common effect being that instead of being a okay, so they actually work just like regular phasers, except their proc effect triggers in an AoE around the target. Right, so here's where I was talking about where it gets like really fascinating, because
your captain doesn't miraculously just die.
Yeah, your like nothing happens to your captain. You just fly the ship. Like he's there. He's like, yeah, you take the con. I need to take care of this stuff.
Well, I think even the implications, he's kind of still running the ship.
Oh yeah, he is. It's just interesting, yeah, because you are just another member of the crew. You are like still controlling, quote unquote, the ship as per the regular mechanics of the game, but it is still running as if you. There you go. But the story is that the captain is giving you orders and you are just following them out, and I think that's really neat.
It's nice because it doesn't make this guy just inexplicably die.
Yeah.
Not inexplicably, but you know.
Yeah, it's like it just makes it be like more interesting of an effect, like more interesting of a story. You know, I like it. It's a really nice touch.
It's like I like the Romulan one too, because it's like you're not really a military. You're just kind of, hey, you found a ship. Let's use it.
Also, like the look of your starter ship here is pretty rad.
Yeah, I like this thing. I can't be sure that and we mentioned this before. I think all the ship designs are at least inspired by stuff from like the tabletop role-playing games of the 70s.
Yeah, I know I looked into it at one point, and while I wasn't able to find all of the ships, I believe that one or two of them actually were from the old tabletop game. Like there were two of the 5 are actually from the original series, which is the Constitution class and the
Daedalus.
The Daedalus, that's right.
The science vessel.
And then there's at least one, which I can't remember which one it is, but there's at least one which is at least inspired by the tabletop game, and then the other 2 are probably not necessarily made whole cloth out of nothing, but weren't necessarily derived from something specifically.
Your head decorates my fridge.
But regardless, it's like the ship designs are really good and look enough like original series stuff, especially with like just some of the side things that they do to just make it look like a actual model, as opposed to a very sleek
CG.
Yeah, as opposed to CG stuff. Like you can sort of zoom in and like you can see the spinning stuff on the nacelles kind of looks like it's a practical effect.
A computerized practical effect.
But yeah, like it's still emulating it, but it looks
it does look good.
It's really nice.
But yeah, I'd say they time their stuff well. This one.
Right. So what else is there? Oh, so and then likewise in the lockbox, there is a set of modules which are ostensibly based on stuff from the movies, but broadly I think kind of aren't. But that's okay. You can also get
Duty officers.
you can get duty officers, which have very interesting effects because I'm not going to say that I've been like super following a lot of the like special duty officers, but I would say that the gimmick of the Kelvin Universe duty officers is that they all have things which proc or which enhance or proc off of specialty abilities. So like here's one, like there's one ship or one of the duty officers which like will have something that procs off of a command ability. So like every time you use one thing or another, like I can't remember all. I can't really remember the abilities off the top of my head. But it's stuff like that. Like it'll have they all activate off of those, which actually leads me to another interesting thing. If I really should have mentioned this, one interesting thing about the lockbox ships is that they are all specialty ships. The Constitution class is a command, the Bird of Prey is a pilot, and the Warbird and the Vengeance are both intel.
And I don't know if the others do, but the Vengeance also has a temporal specialization slot too.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, is it Universal? I want to say it's Lieutenant Universal.
Okay. I didn't think...
I can't really make use of it yet because I don't have any temporal stuff, but yeah, it's Lieutenant Universal slash
okay.
temporal.
Okay, I actually didn't remember noticing that when I looked at the stats. That's actually pretty interesting.
I didn't look to see if the others did. I didn't realize it did until I got the thing. And like I said, I can't really make use of it personally yet because I don't have enough stuff in temporal to be able to make books. I don't feel like spending money on it.
Yeah, so the temporal is a new specialization with Agents of Yesterday. I know I've talked about it a little bit, but we'll go over it more once we start doing the max level stuff.
Because you have some stuff you can use for that, right?
I think I have a few, yeah.
Captain Garrett wants to see you.
I saw one of the DOTs is like crazy good. I don't know if that was just a thing that needed to be nerfed or an error or what.
Yeah, maybe. So here is the Agents of Yesterday Earth Space Dock, which looks super kitschy.
You'll notice it's not too dissimilar from the deck of the ship.
Oh, I think you've spawned into this version.
Yay!
It's actually kind of interesting. So one thing that's interesting here is, you helped out the Enterprise in an event. So now you're gonna talk to the crew of the Enterprise in the bar.
It's been a pleasure working with you.
With archive dialogue, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Mostly.
But here, if I talk to, for example, Scotty, hey, he thinks we look kind of familiar. Well, that's kind of strange. I don't know why he would. You've never met him before.
Yes. Also, this is Chris Doohan is James Doohan's son doing the voice of Scotty for this expansion.
And now you talk to McCoy, and yeah, he feels like he's talked to us before. That's kind of strange. Yeah, Uhura just basically spouts like clips, essentially.
Yeah, so does Sulu, I believe.
Yeah, I think Sulu does, and Chekhov seems to be a little bit more talkative, but he is actually a voice actor for Agents of Yesterday, yes, so that makes a lot of sense.
Koenig did reprise. Oh, the other thing that sadly happened since we left was small, I guess, condolences / moment of silence for the death of Anton Yelchin.
Yeah.
That was a bummer.
Right, so now we meet up with Captain Garrett, our boss. And he's all,
I have some good news.
Hey, thanks for coming.
I got promoted.
First off, Fleet promoted me to Admiral. I'll be working with Deep Space Command.
So now he's going to be here, still acting as our boss.
But since he got promoted, everyone gets promoted.
That's right.
It's like Vader murdered someone.
So now we get the ship, and
Congratulations.
so he's still our boss, giving us missions. He's basically Admiral Quinn, as far as I can tell.
Mm-hmm. And I actually do wonder if this guy's related to.
Congratulations, Lieutenant.
Oh,
yeah.
Then the Spock audio.
Every generation.
Yeah.
Starfleet
This is
officers
like
give
them
quality
super reusing dialogue, because you may notice, you may remember that this is the same dialogue you get when you enter the Sol Quadrant for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well,
Nimoy deserves it.
Yeah, we can't get Nimoy to record anything new, so
if the Federation is to be saved from chaos,
reuse the audio we had.
take up the task of restoring
It is very
peace.
touching. I don't know if you saw Star Trek Beyond, but they did dedicate the film to both Anton Yelchin and Leonard Nimoy.
I need to see Beyond. It's the only problem I have with that scene is that it just seems real weird, because like suddenly Spock walks into your scene.
It seems
gives
weird,
you
but I'll
gives
take
you
it because Nimoy's gone.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. It's great that they have that. It's just real weird because he literally walks into the scene, gives a small speech, and then walks out of the scene. It's like what?
And you'll notice we never see Kirk.
Huh.
So yeah, I'm a Tellarite.
Yeah.
Got a pudgy belly.
And that picky
I
nose.
vaguely consider naming myself Bilbo, but
Alright, so alright, we're close to an hour here, so we'll finish off this episode by just doing the rest of the exploration of Earth Space Dock, showing where everything is. So first we are going to the Taylor, which is up
who's
here.
not a Cardassian in this time.
No, but
I don't think Cardassians exist in this time.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure they exist in this time.
Just we don't know them.
Yeah. All right. So Taylor is the Taylor.
Yep. Ship vendor, claim a shuttle.
Yeah. Whereas
that you won't use for like 30 levels.
Yeah, but I can also not just get my shuttle. I can also get my Constitution class, and like I might as well just buy the shuttle anyway, but I'll buy the Constitution.
I have to admit, I'm kind of bummed that you can't use the NX refit.
Yeah, well, like on one hand, yes, you're right. On the other hand, the reason why is because the NX refit hasn't been made yet. So
it can be a slightly different NX refit.
I talked to a bartender. Oh, there's our alcohol. Everyone is
Yay,
left.
Booze.
And then if we go over this way, so back up there's our bridge officer trainer, bridge officer requisitions. So like here, I'm just looking at the map. You can see that 23rd century Earth space dock is tiny, but again, as was
also
mentioned,
the sign.
Yeah, that sign.
The sign looks like it's like welded, metal or plastic.
It's pretty great. It's pretty great.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so now we go back to the Admiral.
know that being a starship captain is a big responsibility. Stay safe.
And then we will pick up our next mission.
Ever hear of Edron 4?
And just like I mentioned, like
Kirk got into a
it
tussle
just
with
feels like
Captain
some of these missions are Captain Kirk's
Both
greatest
the
hits,
Gorn
because
and
now we're going to the planet where Kirk got into that
fight with the Gorn.
the legendary fight with the Gorn.
Get on your torn shirt, man.
Stay safe.
But that will be for next time.
Yes.
Yeah,
And of
I'll
course,
finish.
beaming up, you do pull out your cell phone.
Yeah, it's actually pretty great because you get the. In fact, I will actually beam up to the ship. Yeah, you pull out that style communicator, and you beam up.
Click on this button.
The thing that is probably less advanced than actual cell phones are today.
Quite possibly. But anyway, I will have to also spend some time just switching my ship over to the Constitution class for next time, but
Yeah.
that will be a next time thing.
Oh, also show off the sector map, because it is, as you can see, very tiny compared to the 21st
Yeah, you know what?
century.
I might as well show that off while we're here.
Starbase 39 Sierra is still there. I think we visited it.
On the icon
Yeah,
beside
so
your
if I
mission, order your crew
zoom
to
out
plot a course
the
for
sector map, you can see that, 23rd century space is basically just 3 sector blocks. Which is also pretty good because you don't fly very fast, but that's kind of normal. Oh,
Yeah, you see, you're going like warp 5.2 or something like
Yeah.
that. It's like, oh,
I might as well let this little dialogue here on the side play off as well. You may recognize this gentleman. He may have appeared.
I sure didn't.
He may have appeared during the previous mission if you had noticed.
Oh yeah. Also, he's voiced.
He's voiced. Also, you may recognize this gentleman in general, but he will.
I sure didn't.
He will show up more, or will he? I don't know.
He will. He will.
Yeah, he probably will.
He will.
I mean, he's voiced, but you expect.
Yeah, it's not just a generic voice actor.
Yeah, it's someone. Dun, 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 dun. But anyway.
Stan Winston's son.
Anyway, that'll be it for us for this week. We hope you all enjoyed this, and we'll see you all next time.
Bye, everyone.